Good morning, 6AMERS. The 6AMERS began in April 2020 in the heart of the pandemic. Forming this podcast is our way of extending the community and the message of the community into the world. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 6AMER podcast. My name is Skye Michaels. I'm the host of this podcast. I'm joined by the amazing Emily Bossert, my co-host. Good morning, Emily.
Good morning, Skye. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. I'm very excited because I get to ask you a question this morning.
All right.
And as you know, we do this one-word intention every month. And for anyone that's maybe new to the podcast, we've been playing around each day with trying to create these powerful one words around different topics. So, Emily, if you had to create a one-word intention around your relationship with your stepkids,
Ooh.
What would it be?
Oh my gosh.
I know,
That
I
is
zinged
a
you this
good
morning.
one. You know, I am so lucky that I have Jack and Grace, my two stepkids, and I would say the word that describes our relationship is genuine. It has always been genuine from day one. And for me, they are literally, truly the icing on the cake. When I met and married my husband, I didn't truly know what I was getting into in terms of stepchildren or what else do we call them besides stepchildren? I don't even like that.
Children.
Extra bonus kids. Bonus kids.
Yeah.
But I would say our relationship is truly genuine.
Incredible. I love that. And I know I got you off guard a little bit on that one, but it's a really powerful answer for sure. Well, in today's episode, we are going to be listening to a dear friend of mine, a business mentor of mine, and actually someone that I didn't realize was influencing my career early on in real estate, Zvi Band. Zvi Band is a serial entrepreneur. All the man does is want to create businesses. Early on in his career, Zvi created a company called Contactually. Contactually was a CRM. And in my opinion, one of the best CRMs ever created until we got to the Compass world. And when I was selling real estate and using Contactually, it's ironic to think back that all those years ago, I was using a product that Zvi built. And now, all these years later, we get to interact at a really high level. In addition, Zvi sold Contactually, came over to Compass, and he was so influential in building the Compass CRM. And then more recently, Zvi launched a sort of a coaching and life-changing program or company called GoodSphere. And I can't wait for him to dive into a little bit of the GoodSphere model in the podcast. It's life-changing what this company and this program does. Emily, for you, what's some of your takeaways or what were some of your impressions from the interview?
You know, Zvi sets such a great example for all of us as a leader. And one of the takeaways from me was the way he spoke about failure and how he deals with failure. And he also talked about purpose and how our purpose changes over time. So I thought those two things were incredibly impactful, and it just shows what a true leader he is.
Well, everyone, enjoy the interview with Zvi Band. Take it away.
I had a couple of questions actually in my mind. I was thinking about, obviously, the events of yesterday, there's a question that, a little bit of an angle I wanted to just talk a little bit about, which is leadership. You've obviously been leading people for a long time. And, when I think of yesterday, I'm a student of leadership, right? I love observing and watching and learning from, Refkin and other mentors in my life and other, national leaders. And so for you, like, how do you as a leader deal with defeat or loss or failure, right? Because I think that's what we're dealing with other things. But as a leader, when you're leading people, like something bad happens, like how do you react? Or how do you coach people to react?
Really great question. And I remember actually very vividly related to this. Again, not to get political, but, our office is in DC. We have a bunch of young 20-somethings, on our team, et cetera. So the 2016 election was like a very big shock for many people. And I could tell just like kind of the air was sucked out of the room for the team. For me, I try and obviously this is one of the important things. I take care of myself first, right? I strongly believe you can't pour from an empty cup. And so I kind of, make sure to see like, okay, what do I need to do to make sure like I can be my best that day? So meditate, exercise, all the kind of like personal care things that I take care of. For me, I focus an incredible amount of time on really making sure my team knows that like I understand their pain, right?
Yeah.
I try and address like the facts that I see them. I come from a point of, I call it realistic optimism, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I hate to say, I look at like yesterday and, you kind of say like, okay, it's horrible. I understand. What good can come from this? Or more importantly, like, what have we learned?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think what have we learned, what have we learned is that there are some very deep divisions in this country.
Yeah.
Right. And deep down, there's a lot of fear and disconnection amongst people. Right. Like how could this happen?
Yeah.
Right. And I was actually at the Capitol like a couple of weeks ago, just playing with my kids on the lawn and everything like that. So to watch that happen was like very real for me. I'm not that far from the Capitol. And so to watch that happen is very scary. So for me, my attitude is, okay, like what can we learn and what good can come from this?
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. And I love that answer. I think that's one of the lines I like to use is you're never failing. You're either winning or learning, right? There's no such thing as failure. And that's it. It's been really interesting to watch everything unfold.
Yeah. My attitude is like every day is business school. Every day is a lesson learned. All the failures and challenges we've had. Yeah. Now it's very scary to kind of look at this, right? Look at yesterday and go like, what positive is out of this? Hey, if this reignites, decades of political activism and voter turnout and people caring about, elections and, jumping into politics because they believe they can do a better job than people in DC. Awesome, right? That's going to be incredible for us.
Now, a lot of people that have been doing 6AMERS for a while, we read your book months and months ago, but you also wrote a book in addition to creating Contactually. Like what was the impetus for the book, and like how did you do it? Because that's one of my desires as well for this year.
So. Yeah. Well, usually whenever anyone says they want to write a book, I say, sure, I'm happy to sit down and tell you why you shouldn't write a book. But it's a real labor of love. I've done now 3 of them. I'll be honest, right, with everyone here, because it's, 6 a.m., right? Yeah. I found, we started writing the book because we believed that we needed to produce a book that told people how to run CRM, like how to use a CRM, how to grow their business. We were obviously, our software company was focused on how to use our tools. We wanted to teach people like how to grow their business.
Yeah.
And so that's what led us to start the book. Honestly, it was a 4-year labor of love. At the end of the day, from I realized the time that like I wrote the first outline to the time it's published.
Yeah.
And so obviously, again, like everyone here in your business, your purpose changes over time as things grow, and it ended up becoming, not just a way to grow the business, like way to like help promote the company, but we learned so much, and I wanted to gift it to the world. Software, Contactually, the Compass CRM, that's going to go away, right? Books and knowledge last forever. And so we wanted a way to like kind of say, hey, this is what we've learned. This is what we believe. This is what we want to give back to the world. And obviously a new life experience, writing, I remember turning in the manuscript of 70,000 words and go like, I can't believe I wrote 70,000 words. Like, this is like, I'm the kid in like 5th grade that would like play with the margins.
Yeah.
Just to kind of get enough pages, right?
Spaces between paragraphs. That's awesome. So so the Contactually, the book, what other things in your life do you like this theme of relationships, that are the importance of relationships, which I totally agree with you. Like, where did that come from for you? Like, you know what I mean? I believe that as well. And I could trace a lot of that back to probably my real estate, sales piece. For you, like, where did that come from? that theme of relationships within Contactually and then you wrote the book, and what solidified that relationship theory?
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I think honestly, again, having spoken to many on the phone and tens of thousands of real estate agents, at Compass and, at other brokerages, I think there's some similarity, honestly, between us. As I look back and honestly, beyond Contactually and the book and the Compass CRM, I've done a number of other things. I've started one of the largest tech meetups in the country with 30,000 members. I host regular networking breakfasts and events and dinners. I built websites that was on the front page of New York Times, and I realized like common thread amongst all of them is human connection. I'm a sucker for creating human connection. And yeah, if we were to put my therapist hat on, it's because growing up, I didn't necessarily have as much human connection as I needed to. All the family trauma and everything you can kind of look back at. But I realized that for me, I do everything I can to create community because I need community myself. I need those connections. That's one of the things that's most important in my life and I value. One of the exercises, and if you haven't done this, by the way, something I really recommend that you think about is go through your past year, like literally look through calendar and look through who you met with and what you did. And yes, we know travel's not really happening these days, but if you look back, there's probably a good chance that like me, the highlights of your year are going to be the people that you met with. And that's something I'm consistently reminded about.
Yeah. In trying to dig up some questions for this interview, I went back and I was like looking at old YouTube videos, and I don't know how to say this to me, but you were a little heavier in your past, right? So
yeah, I lost 50 pounds over the past year and a half. We could be honest.
I'm sorry. I was like trying to think of like a good way to ask this question, but you lost a lot of weight.
Thank you. I also had a lot more hair then too, but
like, how did you go? What caused that? How did you do that? Because there's a lot of reason I ask. A couple of reasons is a lot of people on this call are, in weight loss journeys or trying to be healthier, things along those lines.
Yeah, really great question. I wish I could say like a switch flipped. And I think I kind of dig down to kind of say like, well, what is that switch? I think for me, it's two things that happened really, or three things. One, I decided it was time to take care of myself, right? It was literally like we made the decision to sell Contactually at the very end of 2018. So 2019 opened. I'm like, okay, I've done this 7.5 year climb and I am just broken as a human being. What do I need to do? So I really focused on taking care of myself, not just what I eat, but the thoughts in my head. I picked up a daily meditation practice, and journaling, and all the amazing self-care methods, including like the kind of meditation that Parker does, loving kindness. And the second thing is I really did a personal mindset shift, right? It's not necessarily that I wanted to lose weight. It's that I started picturing myself as a fit person.
Yeah.
And I wasn't before, right? 50 pounds overweight, et cetera. And the third, and this is probably one of the most impactful things, I had community, right? I surrounded myself by people who were on the same journey, who had done it before, and really just helped change my habits, right? They gave me tactics and tools. A friend of mine literally just texted me saying, hey, here's a meal plan, just do this. And I followed it. Yeah. I was, talking about how I plateaued at one point and someone else came and said, hey, like, have you tried intermittent fasting, go. I'm actually down 6 pounds since January 1st because I'm on a new program called 75 Hard, where again, it's insane, but like, again, I'm with a group of 12 friends of mine and we're checking in with each other. We're in this small group, we're texting each other, we're complaining about our challenges, et cetera, but we're cheering each other on.
Tell everyone quickly, Zvi, what is 75 Hard? Because there are some people on here that have started this and some degree of success, some degree of failure, which is good.
Yeah, so you can look at you could look up 75 hard. I saw Elizabeth posted it. It basically consists every day for 75 days, no breaks, no quits. You have to start over again if you break it. 2 45 minutes workouts, one of them being outside. You have to drink a gallon of water. It's a lot. You have to read 10 pages of a book, take a progress pic, stick to a very strict diet with no cheat meals or alcohol or anything like that. So yeah, it's intense, but it is like transformative because they say, and actually funny, Skye, I know you're a big fan of Extreme Ownership and Jocko Willink. I'm halfway through it. It's more about mental toughness than anything else, right?
Yeah.
Even
Really
just like,
mind.
even from like, I'm sure for all the business owners on the call, right? Like saying, wait, 90 minutes of exercise a day? I don't have 90 minutes. I don't either, but somehow I figured it out.
Yeah. How did you figure it out? Like, because I know my mind definitely goes to that, right? How did you figure out like 90 minutes? Because you got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, to be honest, I've made a point of, of basically adjusting my life around that now, right?
Yeah.
Like basically saying, okay, this is one of the fixed things, just like everyone here with kids. Okay, I have to take care of my kids. My kids have to get to school. Like, I started with that. So, a 45-minute walk, at night outside. Yes, it's freezing cold here in DC, but like I'll still walk outside and I'll be listening to podcasts, or I'll take meetings while walking or running around. I wake up early, so I've actually already had one 45-minute workout this morning, just by kind of getting up at 4:30, doing a 45-minute workout and showering, getting ready for this call. Again, it's amazing. I've made it work, and I did not expect it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I got it to yesterday, and I purposely didn't text you or call you because I was waiting. I knew we had this call lined up. Yesterday, you posted on your Facebook. If anyone is friends with Zvi, I'm friends with Z, and you posted that you have a new venture coming. Tell me more about your Facebook post, or tell everyone what your Facebook post was who's not friends with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I'm an entrepreneur, right? Like you. And I know where I'm best at, and I'm best at 0 to 1. And so I've decided, after 9 years building Contactually and the Compass CRM, that it's time to go back to 0, time to be an entrepreneur like all of you again. And so at the same time, I realized that like what everyone here needs, and one of the things that's missing from all the work that I've done, again, like starting Contactually and writing a book and building, the training programs that layer work for thousands of people, is I think like I said with 75 hard, I've done best when I have small group coaching and accountability. And so I'm starting a small group coaching accountability program specifically for real estate agents, actually only for Compass agents initially right now. I've seen, again, like we talked about, like the very prescriptive 75 hard program, something focused specifically on how do we hold ourselves accountable to engage our sphere? How do we learn the tools and tactics? And then also, again, similar to some of the topics we talked about, how do we take care of ourselves, right? I truly believe that you cannot build relationships with your sphere if you don't have strong relationships with yourself as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell me more, give me more details. Is it, so it's not through Compass, right? It's like,
no. I mean, Compass, like everyone at Compass is completely supportive of it and everything like that. Again, Compass leadership understands how needed, be like for needed for like real small group, like someone needs that to be held accountable. There are many people that perform. I know I do best when someone's kicking my ass. And so that's what we're providing. It's right now we're starting off a 12-week program, and we focus on 3 things, right? We focus on tactics to nurture your sphere. We focus on habits to allow you to make sure you have the time to be able to act repeatedly. Like, again, how useful is it if I just give you a tactic this morning and you never act on it again? And the third thing is happiness, right? I love being happy, and so everything like that. So
That's so cool, because that's one of the reasons I created this group, was happiness as well. Do you know what I mean? And so how are you gonna, or tell me, let's go maybe philosophy, right? Like, so happiness within real estate, within, like, how are you building happiness within this coaching, or within the
yeah, I mean, there's some very basic tactics. Obviously, Parker's meditation is a perfect thing, right? A perfect example, right? How can we better incorporate meditation to our lives? Gratitude is another huge happiness topic that I rely on, right? I'm sure all of you right now can identify someone in your head that you're thankful for that you haven't, expressed your thanks to.
Yeah.
Go and do that, right? Right now. Get it out of your head and get it onto a note card, right? Work with that. Every time I write a thank you card, I feel better, right? It's almost selfish in a way, right?
Yeah.
It's focusing on very specific tactics like that repeatedly over and over and over again.
That's awesome. And so, so the three things again are, you repeat them again for me? The three things?
Yeah, sure. It's happiness,
Yep.
Habits, and tactics.
Happiness, I love that. Happiness, and tactics. So go the second one. What are the tactics?
Habits. Habits. Again, I saw some posts about atomic habits and things like that. Yeah, I mean, that's important, right? How do we make sure that we are doing the things? I mean, supposedly Aristotle has this quote that we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is a habit, right? That's what is incredibly important for us, right? And so how do we make sure that we are building the habits? And I think are two ways. Obviously, there's lots of good guidance and tools that we have, like atomic habits and tiny habits and things like that. And yes, we teach that in calendar blocking and everything like that. But we also know that in order to build habit, you kind of need almost training wheels to kind of start building a habit.
Yeah.
And so that's why we have a accountability program built out, where we're actually going to help you hold accountable to yourself. That's very much focused on building up those habits to the point where, yeah, you're waking up and meditating every day and writing a note card to 5 people, because of course, that's just your neurons are just firing obviously every time that way.
Yeah. And we'll get to techniques in a second, but what are the habits? So everyone on this call, what habits do you recommend for an entrepreneur or a real estate agent or an employee of anyone? Let's get real specific for real estate agents. What habits do you recommend specifically for real estate to build someone's business? Because you obviously have helped people with anyone that's, you're building Contactually and the Compass CRM, that's the drive, right? It doesn't exist if it's not helping people with business. So well, first off, everyone on this call could take from this call, right?
Yeah. I mean, first off, not to beat a dead horse, but really making sure that you start off every day by clearing the deck, meditating or whatever you need to do. If it's meditation, exercise, journaling, there are many different kinds of meditation practices you could have, breath work, whatever, but really making sure we start with a very specific meditation practice. For me, I'm listen, don't think about it. Get Headspace or get the Waking Up app, right? Just do it. They're such simple getting started programs. Yeah. Starting off with a moment of gratitude, thinking of one person you can be grateful for today and actually reaching out to them and sending them a text message. Another tactic that we speak very specifically, that again, so clearly there's a lot more we can do and a lot more we teach around how to really engage with the sphere. One of the basic ones, that I like to do is literally and everyone can do this right now, right? Is literally open up the Messages app on your phone, scroll down 5 or 6 pages, right? Find someone that I haven't spoken to since October 4th and send a message saying, hey, it's been a few months, just thinking of you, Happy New Year, right?
Yeah.
Little things like that, if we start doing that. And again, I say, again, our attitude is do one thing, just do one, right? Just do one of those tactics, send one message, and I guarantee you're going to then just go and send 10 more. So those are some of the tactics that we very specifically think about. And then we talk about like how to actually use and get organized in your CRM and everything like that. So all that comes, but we try and start very small and then build up the prescriptive program after that.
Yeah. And in the chat, it's because there's a really, Betsy posted, she struggles with sticking to habits. In the chat, I would love, we have 312 people on the call. I would love to see people respond. What is it that, because I think we all know if you stick to habits, like you're going to be successful. What is it that prevents you from sticking to habits? Betsy, Marina, anyone, right? I'd love to see a little crowdsourcing on what are the hurdles of sticking to habits. And Zvi, I'll give that question back to you, and I want to hear more about this, the coaching stuff. But like for you, what are your stumbling blocks that prevent you from following through on habits?
Yeah, I think like a couple things. One is disruption, right? Like, oh, I woke up this morning and, instead of like, I got a text message from someone and it kind of threw me off, and all of a sudden now like I'm in response mode, right? Like, yes, I'm on the CRM team, I lead a product team. So when I wake up to 3 emails from Robert, I'm like, okay, that's my morning, right? Like it's distractions like that. To me, honestly, the biggest thing, the biggest killer, and honestly, I don't think we talk about this enough in habit building and everything we've learned, is shame, right? One of the best tactics I've learned is to never miss 2 days. The problem is that like we mess up, like real life happens, right?
Yeah.
And then we feel bad about it, right? All of a sudden it's, oh, I didn't do the thing I'm supposed to do. I feel ashamed about it. It's now the mess in the corner. And what does our ego do? Our ego tries to get away from that, right?
Yeah.
There's of other things that we talk about, like fear of rejection, not necessarily knowing what to say, other things, making the tactic easier. Yes, obviously, like we talk and we're very prescriptive about how we help burn through those blockers.
Yeah.
But to me, like the biggest ones are distractions and shame.
Yeah, that's all. And it's so funny you said that. I don't know if you were to scroll through the chat, and I will save the chat for sure. Distractions is probably the biggest one that's coming through, but that shame piece, I think, is one of those. I think the shame is unconscious often as well, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's like one of those things. Don't think a lot of us are saying, hey, I feel shameful, so I'm going to do this. It's almost like I'm going to go just check my social media right now. It's like, I think there's this like unconsciousness to it.
Oh yeah, I mean it's very real. I mean the ego is this amazing thing, right? The ego was developed for us as cave people to protect us, to make sure we don't hurt ourselves, right? And yes, we feel bad about something, so therefore it's kind of hurting ourselves. So therefore we naturally go to the thing that like will make us feel better, right? And I hate to say, like, social media is sugar for our brain, right? It's like, oh, cool, like little hits of like dopamine. This is nice, right?
Yeah.
It's not helping us. Like, I hate to say, and actually my pledge today is to actually like turn off Facebook and social media today, because like I know it's just going to be retweets and everything like that. I'll check the news at 6 o'clock and see what happened, but that's it, right? Yeah. Jessica posted, it's candy for our brain, right? That is such an important thing.
Yeah. So, and then I think the third piece was actual like techniques. Is that right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So give me like some examples of techniques. Like,
yeah, I'll be honest. There are lots of ways that you can grow your business, right? One of the things I learned is actually going back as a leader is decision paralysis. I think we have too many, and I think one of the amazing things for us as professionals here is that there are too many ways that we can grow our business. There are too many things that we can do today.
Yeah.
And then what happens? We end up doing nothing, right? Like, how many times have we like been staring at like 10 different kinds of ketchup, right? And I'm like, I don't know. And I'm just going to go buy something else, right? So what we focus on is we actually take the opposite approach. Instead of like, and I've been to other like conferences and coaching conferences, things like that, where up on the screen, they're like, hey, there are 50 ways to grow your business and 50 new ideas. And I'm like, no, you know what? Throw that all away. Here's the one thing that we should do today.
Yeah.
Right? Let's focus on the one tactic so you can focus your time on serving your clients, right? And and this is the one tactic that you should implement to grow your sphere today. From there, of course, you can branch out, but we very much believe in the golden path. And for what's worth, we're also very much focused on sphere of influence. I've seen a lot of distractions, not to say that like lead generation and geo farming and et cetera aren't valuable, but we know that our best business and honestly our happiest self comes from our connections to our sphere. And therefore, like, we are exclusively focused on how do we help you nurture that really strong sphere in a very clear way. I'm not going to give you 10 different ideas or 30 different email templates that you can use. We're going to give you one email template. Do this, like, this works really well. Yes, of course, you can change it over time if you want to, but like, this is the one thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's, and if you think back to the blockers of why people like get distractions, I think one of the things that realtors get distracted with, myself included, is like the new things, right?
Yeah.
Hey, this is, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. And what you end up doing is you do once, then you do this once, then you do this once, you do this once. And we're reading Compound Effect, right? Where it's like, don't do all this stuff. Just do one thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
Right. That little thing repeated often, consistently, will lead to success.
Yeah.
And I love that.
And that's why I honestly say, like, and listen, again, I built the CRM here at Compass. I love the CRM. We have a lot of cool email templates. Cool.
Yeah.
Go and right now and commit today to building the one template that you're going to use to reconnect with your sphere.
Yeah.
And just say, like, literally, like, and we call it like the one template, right? Yeah. Just call it one template. And when you go, it's no longer, which thing do I need to do? Which template do I choose out of the 50 I have? This is the one I send. In fact, actually, it's funny. I'd love to hear in the chat if people have read Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. And I'm kind of working my way through it, but he talks about, like, one of the most important. There you go, Steve. Do I know Skye or not? I have
a sick obsession with Jocko Willink, as everyone knows.
One of the most important tactics he talks about is simple, right? Yeah. Like, a SEAL tactic is to keep things as simple as possible. So cool. Don't give yourself 50 different things you could do to grow your business. This is the one thing, right? Yeah.
So, Zvi, so we're getting to the end, and you're inspiring, because I am going to do a little bit of coaching after this, guys, for a quick thing. And my inspiration is, I'm going to actually give you one template that is going to scare the shit out of a lot of people. And it's actually going to be a direct ask for referral. Because one of my drives that I have in Philadelphia, and for this group as well, is create inventory. Can we create inventory? If you create inventory this year, you're going to control almost all of our markets. You will be in control. And I'm going to give you you're inspiring you. Just
and can I preempt that? Can I preempt what you're talking about? You said, like, one template that's going to fear you. One of the things that we talk about and built out in the program is fear of rejection.
Yeah.
And we actually have a chapter in the book about this and everything like that. And I'm like, the two things we talk about to overcome fear of rejection, and you may talk about this, so sorry, is one, remember that most people won't. That fear you feel right now, that will cause 99% of people to close the phone, close the browser, to walk away and, again, go back and get some candy and watch Netflix or something like that. So know that most people won't. So therefore, by you jumping over that wall, you are now separating yourself from the pack. Yeah. And the second is, don't worry about rejection, right? Babe Ruth didn't try and hit home runs. He swung the bat as hard as he could. So just focus on the act, focus on writing the best email. Yeah. Forget what happens. Almost assume they're going to hate you just to get it out of the way, get it out of your head, right? And focus just on, writing the best email, writing the best cards, sending the best text message, delivering the best feeling, and that's it.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Zvi, I'm getting a ton of questions. What is how do people say email you? What is
Oh yeah, sure.
like, yeah, what
I'll post it in chat, but it's goodsphere.coach. The website is just goodsphere.coach.
why good sphere? Tell me more about that. I love the name, by the way.
Beyond, I don't know how many people like remember there's like this Nickelodeon show called All That. Like there's like Welcome to Good Burger, Home of the Good Burger. You know, I think I saw Parker nod, so yes. You know, but no, I very much believe, again, we talked about you know, that everything we have is around building a relationship with not just your community, not just both your habits, but with yourself as well. And so we really think that like that's this idea of being in your good sphere, right? Yeah. Your good sphere is not just your relationship with your actual sphere, like in having a good sphere, it's being in your good sphere. Like I want everyone here to be their happiest. And I know I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a leader. We are by default miserable and unhappy people and unsatisfied all the time. Like we need to break out of that. Because again, otherwise distractions and fear and everything come in. So that's what we get around.
That is awesome, dude. Well, and just so you know too, like I'm definitely interested in helping you out with this. This is my passion. Sphere is my passion. I built my business, you know, through my sphere, and I think it's the future, and I think it's this like hidden gem that we all have that we don't use, or some of us use. But I'm so excited about this. I can't wait to talk to you offline.
Yeah,
really
it's the future, but the thing is, it's also the past, right?
Yeah.
It's been an open secret for a while.
This is it's a key, right? It's like this is what's been working for so many years. Sorry, I'm not going to get too excited. Picking up more than coffee, but it's old school real estate, guys. Old school real estate works, and old school real estate is about taking care of people. Period. That's it. Well, that's all you got to worry about. And if we worry about that, but then how do we go from that to like actually getting in front of the people, right? That's this.
Yeah. How do I use the CRM? How do I organize my contacts? Yeah, we get it. Like, well, we work on that for sure. Like it's about that bridge that matters so much.
Exciting. So cool. So
thank you all for your time. This has been great.
Thanks for listening to the 6AMERS podcast. If you liked what you heard on this episode, we'd love to hear from you. So leave a comment, review, and don't forget to subscribe. For more information on the 6AMERS community, guests, book recommendations, and more, visit our website at the6amers.com. We also invite you to follow us on Instagram for a daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and fun. See you next time.